Hey team, I've had this Tenere 700 for about almost 2 years now, and I've absolutely enjoyed riding it, taking it to places that I wouldn't do on the CV500X and pushing myself harder, and it's a lot to take in, and it's a lot of learning there. So I'm one of those people who takes the Tenere 700 into the dealership for service as long as it's under warranty. And so I've still got a couple of months more of warranty left, so the bike's still going to go back to the dealer for service. However, before every ride I tend to check things like, brake oil levels and coolant and engine oil and air pressure, but one of the things I don't really check or have not checked consciously is being the condition of the brake pads. And that was a big mistake, because last Sunday I went out riding, was enjoying some sweeping corners, took a really hard into a corner and realized I needed to brake and shed speed. So front brake, back brake together, and next thing I hear is screeching from the rear, and that's when I realized that the back is shot. So I decided to take a look at some videos and figure out how to go about changing brake pads on the Tenere 700. Whew, not an easy process. I've changed them on my CV500X before, the WR250R before, and they were pretty straightforward. Somehow on the Tenere, I got to pull off the wheel to get to the caliper. So stay tuned, have a watch. There are other videos out there. I just thought, I could make another one, and hopefully it helps some people out there. Got the bike up on the stand. Got to start pulling off the rear axle, pull the wheel off so that clamp releases off there, and then I have access to the brake pad. As you can see, that's clearly a mistake on my part, driven all the way, so this is going to be a fun exercise. So 27mm socket, I've already pre-loosened the bolt. I am a little skeptical about how the way the bike's set up on the stand there, but yeah, I think we should be all right. Just gonna give it a little tap. Oh, it's not gonna come out that simple and easy. Whew, okay, chain off. That wasn't that bad. Whew. Now we have access to this. All right, so let's get some brake cleaner in there. Pull the pin off. All right, so we got that out. Give this a clean. Right, so managed to get the cylinder in that much. Just going to push the rest of the way in. Right, so we've got the cylinder back in all the way, the piston back in all the way. Time to swap out the pads. So I got these new pads. One thing to always check is to make sure that they all line up. You don't open the cover and realize that you've got a pair of pads that actually don't work for your motorcycle. So I was just wondering, I have not had the front wear out on me yet, just the back. And apparently it turns out that the rear pads tend to be thinner, is what I've heard. How much of that is true, I'm not sure. So make sure you get the rear seated in, and then the front. Right, so that was a bit of a struggle, but I managed to get it back on, get the chain back on. Now I've got to get the axle going through. and I'll lift the wheel and sort all that out. So don't have any grease, so just going to use some lube. Right. Go, wheels all in. So you're just going to put that back on. Give it a little bit of a tighten. All right, get the bike started, put it in gear, test the brake. Get it all lined up. So now we can tighten this. Well, that wasn't easy, I'll give you that. And I think there's a reason why I need to keep sending the bike to the dealer or get somebody else to do my brake pads, but I think practice makes perfect, so at some point I will get better. Anyway, just to quickly run you through the process, jack the bike up, 27mm socket to pull that off. Get your axle coming out through the other side, pull the whole axle off. Take the chain off, pull the tire out. There's a bit of a slider in there that slides out with it. There is this pin that you need to pull off the pads, give the piston a clean up, put in the new pads, put in the new pin, put in the locking pin, jiggle it a little bit and slide the entire thing back in. Make sure you don't forget the two spacers on this side and on this side. I've learned it the hard way. If you forget the spacers, you can have everything up and running, and the next thing you know, the bike is not going anywhere. Once that's all done, tighten everything up, put the bolt back, tighten back that on while the bike's on the stand.